and welcome back to another episode of Making a Difference in Mental Health. I'm your host, Danielle Young.
I'm your co-host, Wendy Grier.
And today we really wanted to set aside some time to acknowledge that this is May Mental Health Awareness Month. And we also wanted to kind of dedicate this to our colleagues. We wanted to dedicate this to all the mental health professionals and clinicians that are really in the trenches for clients and for the community. And we really just wanted to dedicate this conversation, this podcast, to kind of talking about what's going on and doing a mental health check-in, having a mental health moment for our audience. So, Wendy, how is your mental health?
It's being tested, I will say. There's a lot going on in the country. And as you know, you and I started this podcast mainly for the clients that we serve, the audience members that listen to us, to buy into the need to pursue mental health treatment when needed. So really destigmatizing it and not making it a taboo. And so, as you said so eloquently, we wanted to dedicate this conversation to our colleagues, to all of us who are, taking in all the information and the trauma and the stress of the clients that we serve, and to just make sure that we're doing a check-in and we're taking care of ourselves. There's a lot going on in the country, right?
Right. Especially now. We're in May 2022 for those who are watching in the future. And it just seems like the news cycle, national and international, has impacted everyone so much so that mental health is at the forefront.
Exactly. I mean, you saw it, and because of COVID, we're still with COVID. It doesn't seem like COVID is going to go anywhere, and we have to shift how we think and learn to live with this virus. But you see the damage that COVID has done on individuals and families in terms of, trying to manage and cope. And so with that, coupled with, what's been happening in our world, in our country, in terms of war, in terms of race battles, and now, Roe versus Wade. Now, it doesn't really matter to us at this point what side of the fence you sit on in terms of that argument, but what is concerning is the ramifications of it. Like, how is it going to impact individuals, and mainly women? And, we fear that it's going to be negative, a negative impact, where we're going to see more instances of trauma and stress and, more maybe suicides.
Right. And
it's a tough thing to, talk about, but we as mental health providers must be ready.
Right. And I think that's also the point too. And here at ABH, we have a really good diversity, equity, and inclusion committee. And this is something that we also talked about as well, where, again, whichever side of the issue you're on, it's still going to impact women's rights either way. And it still also may impact mental health for women, even the families that are connected potentially to women who are connected to this particular instance that we're in, the discussion even about Roe v. Wade. So we just, this is kind of just a free talk as well, to talk from a real space, about how we feel. And we have other things that we just want to touch on today. But again, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We're doing a mental health check-in. We'll have some mental health moments. This is for our colleagues. And I think this is also an opportunity for us. We presented so many different topics and so many different subjects, but sometimes we don't necessarily give our opinion about, what's going on, something as essential as this.
Exactly.
So I think today we'll just be a little bit more transparent.
Yes, and I think we all must really pay attention to how we are checking in, because these issues that are going on in the country, it's hard to, just put your personal views aside and pretend that you're not affected. We're sitting here before you today saying, yes, we're affected. And And we decided that since we were affected, that of course our colleagues are going to be affected in some kind of way. And we're just sharing that this is a safe space. People should be able to, vent and kind of regroup, because we have a lot of work to do. It's coming in the summer, unfortunately. Every summer for the last 2 years has just been completely stressful and hard to relax because something's always going on.
Right.
So, I feel, the stress of it already. And I'm just trying to figure out how to prepare myself.
Right.
And how to support my therapist.
Right.
Including you, Danielle.
Right. I know. And Wendy is such a support. And when we sit and we talk about the different topics that we want to present, it is for our clinicians, it is for our clients, it is for those who want to increase their knowledge and awareness about psychoeducation and mental health. But also from an emotional space, it's really real, and from a mental space. So I'm gonna, kind of say at this point or at this moment in this video, comment down below maybe some things that you want to discuss, or comment down below on even if you're feeling some type of way. We've already talked about we're in the midst of a war. We can see all over the news from an international space. We're still in COVID, and there is another spike over in China, I believe. And I know working with the community schools program, we still have to be very careful because the cases are still going. People are still testing positive. On top of that, just the political atmosphere. And when you think about it, after you've gone through this different levels, there is still mental health streaming through. If there's some type of,
Absolutely. I mean, you can't get away from mental health. This is so impactful on so many levels in terms of how people function nowadays, and just the constant stress of COVID. You can't get away from the mental health.
Right. So then, what do you do? I mean, we've talked about this before, but what do you do?
Our self-care.
Right, our self-care. Because the summer is coming and we're expecting another spike, and I'll say this, for the mental health industry, for the last 2 years, there's been such a need, and it's almost public. I kind of feel like with mental health, we as clinicians, as therapists, as counselors, as mentors, psychiatrists, psychologists, we're the ones who are behind the scenes. You never really hear much. But when you look at the news, you see psychologists, psychiatrists being interviewed. We start to see a lot of different studies now. And I can predict in 10 years, there's probably going to be a mental health study or some type of cohort for this particular time.
Absolutely.
So we're always also trying to find ways to encourage ourselves. So what would you say, is a good way to, from a mental and emotional space, incorporate self-care or time for healing? And I know we have a healing series coming up at some point, but what would you say?
So I think, for me, you walk the talk. So when you're dealing with clients and you say those kinds of things to them in terms of, don't keep it inside.
Right.
Find someone that you can have a conversation with. Express your feelings, find a safe space, do good things for yourself, self-care, mani-pedis, things like that. And I think it rings true for all of us in the helping profession, where we're on the front lines and we're seeing all of these activities and we're hearing the stories, that we too must have a space to talk among ourselves, to express our feelings and our emotions and not keep it inside, because I've always believed if we are not taking care of ourselves, we can't take care of others.
Right.
And so it has to be paramount in the work that we do to treat ourselves right.
Yeah. It's like, the analogy where the pilot always says you have to put your mask on for your oxygen before
you help
the shot.
Else.
How can you can't pour from an empty cup. We give and we give and we give, but we have to refill. And part of that refill is for your self-care, your mental and emotional health, for your mental and emotional healing. And so, I can even share, Wendy, the past couple of weeks have been quite challenging.
Absolutely.
With whether it's family or if it's work and caseload and clients in crisis. And that's what we're trained to do. but then how much more can you give to yourself when you've given to everyone? So on yesterday specifically, I got up and I said, today is going to be a good day. I will be intentional about today being a good day. And so it's just a personal, positive self-talk and affirmation. And, real talk, it really is hard sometimes to do what you tell your clients to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm laughing because it's like inside I'm laughing because we do spend a lot of time telling our clients about positive self-affirmations and saying things like you just said. I'm waking up today. I'm committed to this day being a good day, no matter, what I face. And it's hard to do that. It's absolutely.
But let me say this, because I was determined for not only for it to be an intentional good day, I was determined that I was going to keep my word, that it was going to be a good day. It actually was a good day. And I
positive affirmation.
Right. And but it was also this constant affirming, confirming, reaffirming, it's going to be a good day. And so, even with having a caseload and continuing on with all the responsibilities, it was a good day.
And I think people do forget that we, as helping professionals, we have a family.
Yeah.
We have a life outside of this. I think sometimes clients forget that too. And so it is a juggling situation to balance all of that out, giving what you need to give in your work life and in your private life. And so, we're saying all these things so that people continually just remember like where you are and who you are and what makes sense in terms of your care, so that you're able to be the best for someone else who is in desperate need of care and crisis, and needs care.
Right. So again, we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear comments or questions, or even you can leave us. What is it that you do for self-care? What is it that you do to help yourself either unwind or kind of like revitalize yourself to prepare for being able to go back out to assist and help someone else function on a daily basis? So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to say, or even give an encouragement, Wendy, to some of our viewers who may be clinicians or who actually may be considering therapy or mental health? What kind of advice or what kind of encouragement would you give?
Right. I'm always one to say, you're not alone. There's so much of us in it together. Find your people. And when I say that, find the people that are supportive of you and support what you do for work and support you in your personal life, who give you positive affirmations, who are there for you and can understand your struggle. So that brings me comfort when I am feeling completely overwhelmed and like, it's just not going to get any better. I start to reach out to my people. So that's a hard thing to do, because a lot of us feel like I gotta, man up and suck it up and, deal with it myself. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, I'm reaching out to my people. I might have to go to a happy hour. I might have to, go for a spa treatment, but I'm reaching out to the people that I know that make me feel safe and make me feel comfortable and make me feel happy and laugh. I love humor. And so I look for those people. So that's what I would say to everyone who are our colleagues who are feeling some kind of way right now about just everything that's going on, and just looking, toward the future and wondering what's the summer going to bring, and is it going to be like the last two summers, and with everything that's going on, political atmosphere and war, and it's just a lot, and it's a lot. We have the economy, people are struggling financially, and so we just have to be looking for our people. And I would say one more thing, it's just be kind. As you said, you intentionally woke up today and said, this is going to be a good day. So I think we need to go back to the time where we're just intentionally good to one another, intentionally kind, show some grace. And I think that would be what I would say to folks.
I really like that. So set intentions for yourself. Find your people. Be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Thank that's good.
I like it. We should end it there.
Yeah. So my name is Danielle Young with my co-host,
Wendy Grier.
This is Making a Difference in Mental Health, where we're always striving to make a difference in mental health. We'll see you next time.
Take care.